Hi, I'm Tom. This is Lucy. And this is Kitty Help Desk. So today I would just like to talk about stressors and how you can go about evaluating stressors for cats. It can be difficult sometimes. We see them running away. There are some overt signs, like if they get real small or they hiss or growl at things. That definitely means there's a element of stress to whatever it is they're being exposed to. But there are some more subtle signs of stress. Things like lip licking is a sign of stress in cats. And if they suddenly groom an area, like they're just sitting there and they go lick, lick, lick to a shoulder or to their belly, that's a sign of stress in cats. If they twitch their back muscles, move them around suddenly, if you're touching them at that moment, that means that you're overstimulating them and they'd like you to stop petting them. But if they're just sitting there and their back muscles twitch, that means they're experiencing stress. If you can, when you see those things, along with ears going back, growling, hissing, any of these signs, even hiding, running away, if you see any of these things happening with your pet, then that's the time to take a step back and evaluate what just happened. What were they exposed to? What sounds were going on in the room? What was happening at the time that they exhibited this sign of stress, so that you can evaluate what might the stressors be, because it could be any number of things. It might even be sounds that you can't hear. Miss Lucy here is very highly attuned to the sound of the garbage truck and the sound of the street sweeper. And when those are a couple of blocks away, she hears them. I don't hear them then, but I notice her kind of, she if she's out on the catio, she might come inside and kind of get close to me and kind of wait. And I'm like, oh, something outside has bothered her. Sometimes I'll go and look and see outside if there's another cat outside or something. I'll see if there's something I can identify that's bothering her. And many times when it happens, just a few minutes later, the street sweeper comes by on my street. And I realize, oh, she's noticed this. She heard it on the next street over or the next street over. And that triggered her to have some stress. If you can notice these things, the reason I'm bringing it up at all is that it enables you to work on reducing their exposure to those things. Now, sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. In the case of the street sweeper, I can't change what the street sweeper is going to do every week, but I can help Lucy during the times that's happening to feel more secure. One of the ways that I've been very successful at doing that is I have a phrase, and it doesn't always make sense. So just hear me out, okay? I have a phrase that I started using with Miss Mina when we lived in Los Angeles, because we lived on a very busy street, and a lot of really loud trucks would come up and down the street, and some loud cars too, and all this was really close to our apartment. And so when I heard a sound like that, I would tell Mina, that's just a truck, just a truck. And it got to the point where, as I continued that and was consistent with that response to her, and I would just not show any stress at all. I would just sit back and just tell her, oh, it's just a truck. Then when she heard a sound like that, she started turning and looking at me to see is this something I should be afraid of? And if I said, oh, it's just a truck, she would just go on about her business. That was a really great way of just lowering her stress level. It gave her control of it. I didn't restrict her. If you start trying to restrict them when they're fearful, you're just going to ramp up their fear sky high. You've got to just let them have control over what happens to them. And if they go to a safe zone, you want to make sure that they continue to feel safe there. And the best way you can do that is just to ignore them. Pretend like they're invisible. Let them feel like, hey, I can't be seen. And then they're going to recover their feelings of security much more quickly and come back out on their own. Don't try to lure them out, or even if you were the cause of the thing that they got scared of, let it go. they're going to be okay. They just need time to recover. And if you interfere with that process, if you get involved, you're just going to make it take a lot longer. So you just want to give them the time they need and the agency over their lives that they need in order to feel secure in those situations. I've started using the phrase "just a truck with Lucy" with the street sweeper and the garbage man. And, sometimes that's hard for me because it's not a truck really. But that phrase, if I can get that phrase in her mind and help her to understand that it means that there's nothing to fear, which is really all I'm saying when I say just a truck. It started out as just a truck because that's really what it was, but now it just means, hey, don't worry about it. And if I can do that in that way and I'm consistent with that, she's going to feel a lot more secure every time she gets a little frightened of a sound like that. You can also use a phrase like, it's okay, but that kind of phrase you might say sounds like that at other times. The thing about just a truck is that that's not a phrase I'm going to use very frequently. So when I do use it, it has that very specific application for them. So the point is, if you can identify the things that are stressing your cats out, then you can work to remove those things from their environment, or you can reduce those things' impact on the cats, and you can help them to live more stress-free every single day. And that's going to result in more positive interactions with you, more positive interactions with each other in multiple cat households, and just make life better for everybody all around. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.